Was there ever an interview or sort of interaction that you've had? Sneaker culture has evolved since the time that you started to where
Mm.
we are today. Like, was there ever an interaction that you've had, whether it was at Complex, whether it's at StockX now, or when you were a full size run, that made you sort of like reevaluate your views on on sneaker culture?
Hmm. I'm trying to think. Like, I think that I tried to adjust how I feel about this stuff whenever I talk to other people because, like, again, I want to be a conduit for how people feel about sneakers, or like even in the work we do at StockX, it's like I want us to be a conduit for global sneaker culture. So I don't think there's ever been like an aha moment that
Right.
really shifted how I think about this stuff as a whole. But I always try and adjust, and I'm always like trying to take in other people's views or experiences to be like, oh, right, this thing we call sneaker culture is like such a complicated tapestry that I should always be trying to understand. I should always be trying to increase my understanding of it or widen my understanding of it.
Right. All right.
And then now, transitioning to StockX, what was in that decision for you, or why you thought now was the good time to move over to StockX and do something different? Now you're going to be building communities and things like that. What was that? What was the thought process in that?
Yeah, it was just an exciting opportunity to do something new, to do something different. I felt like I had accomplished what I needed to at Complex, and I've always felt, and I'm happy to say, I've said this before, like I'm on the record before I ever joined StockX of saying that like StockX more than any other platform has shaped how we experience sneakers and how we transact around sneakers, how we acquire them, how we sell them, more than probably any other entity other than like the big brands, Nike, Adidas, etc. Over the last 10 years. Like I said, I know that sounds like a commercial, but I've said that before they ever started paying me. So I really do believe that. So I think it just has such a potential in being this thing that I said before, a conduit for how people experience sneakers. And like, we want people to use the platform to make trades, absolutely, for sure. But also we want people to understand that like StockX is an entity that powers sneaker culture, and that sneaker culture can go through, and we can have events where you can come and meet other people who love sneakers just as much as you do, or we can help bring J Tips to the city, downtown, and partner with him on an activation, or we'll see you at Complex Con, or we'll tell you when the new releases are coming, or just like things like this help open it up a little bit more.
Yeah. And so what would you say community actually means, and sort of like, we're as capitalist as ever, resale driven as ever. What does that actually mean to you in terms of community in the sneaker culture and using your platform now that you have at StockX?
Yeah, I think that it's just about like, again, it's one of those words like community and culture where I'm like, yeah, we hear them a lot. What do they actually mean? I think in sneakers it means just like being able to connect with people and being able to share your stories and being able to like relate or not always relate or disagree with other people's experiences, but just be like, yo, we care about this thing tremendously, and we want to be connected to other people who care about this thing. And I do think like StockX can help with that. I think that these cultures like emerge naturally as we become more obsessed with these things, with these pieces of footwear. And that's something I've always been not always been a part of, but like, for the past 20, 25 years or whatever, it's been a huge part of my life. So it's something I really believe in.
Yeah. So just the reason I asked you that was because my own experience with sneakers, when I was younger, I used to be into like sneakers and stuff like that, lining up for.
What are you used to? You're not still into sneakers?
Nah, not as much, and I'll tell you why.
I'm out of here.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I used to line up just like anybody else, cold nights, 12 hours overnight with a lawn chair in Jamaica, in the hood, like on the Foot Lockers around there. I used to love doing that with a group of my friends.
Coliseum?
About it. No, on Jamaica Avenue on the Foot Locker. Okay. The one that's like all the way down by like 165th Street.
Okay.
Whatever. So there used to be a Foot Locker there, and that used to be the go-to Foot Locker. Then it turned into like everything is doing wristbands, right? Then went from the wristbands to the raffles, and then the raffles to the whatever the app,
sneakers app,
sneakers app. you lost me at the sneakers app because every time there was a hot drop, and I understand why people were doing it because people were getting robbed. But I feel like that was part of the culture, right? Like for me, that was just part of the experience.
Physical outside.
The physical outside, waiting in the cold on December 23rd when the Space Jams came out,
retro.
I lined up 14 hours in like -2-degree weather.
Did you get the shoe?
I did. Size 10. It was me and my boy. There was the only 10s. The guy came outside. We only got 2 10s. And the guy behind us was the 10s. Like, and then whatever, he ended up making a trade later on. But anyway, that was like the memories of sneakers that I had.
Yeah.
Then when it transitions to everything online and I couldn't get anything unless you had a bot.
Bots, yeah.
I didn't have the bots. People were investing thousands of dollars on bots. It kind of like pushed people like me out of the community because I wasn't doing it for a resale. I wasn't doing it to sell my sneakers. I was doing it because I wanted the sneaker. I wanted to wear them. I wanted to show them off when I was around my friends. But then it got towards this whole, we can make crazy amount of money off of this, and people are willing to pay that because I work in an industry where people are not into sneakers, but because they have the capital to pay the upsell charge, they don't care because they don't want to wait outside. They don't want that experience. So I'm always wondering now, like, that's what drew me out of the community. And now when I hear it, it has, I kind of like still listen in to some people who are still part of it. You either need access to connects where you don't need to worry about that, have a shitload of money, or just get extremely lucky.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fit into any one of those buckets. So I don't know how, for people like me who used to love that sort of like culture, you can reintegrate it back in today's society. Just in terms like everybody needs to make money, right? Like we all work at corporations. I understand profit, P&Ls, all that stuff, but it's just to me, like it's sort of like lost the edge a little bit, lost the essence of what the community was, at least to me. At least to me. So it's just sort of like, how do we bring that back, right? Like how do we bring back the people who, I don't mind standing in a line if I like the sneaker, but I don't want to be beat by like a bot out of from whatever, some country out in East Asia, right?